And now we're live.
And we never know when we're going to end either.
But that's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
I'm out by 8. I gotta get a shower. Here, actually, since we started speaking of BattleTech, I'll annoy Seraphis.
Oh, did you get another one?
Another? What do you mean another one?
Oh, because you were talking about a.
I call this my Gen Con haul.
Oh, so that was part of the Gen Con haul. Oh man.
Wait, well, no, I didn't go to Gen Con.
Yeah, no, but the postie arrived.
Yeah,
obviously. Yeah.
And then also.
Wait,
I'm missing one. Oh. Anyways,
I
like knowing.
Oh, they printed that one wrong. It's upside down. That's a rare one.
I am very disappointed. This is the new Facebook. That was kind of. Anyways, Smooth Operations. Come on,
like an 80s song.
No, right, but I mean, come on. If you're gonna get that close to the 80s song, just Smooth Operators or something. I mean, come on. Very disappointed in that. Anyways, I have a lot of reading to do. I'm very
you're just giving yourself more homework, right?
Well, and then I message the Catalyst RPG line director, who's a friend of mine. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's not out for another 3 weeks anyways. I mean, I knew it was like an early release for Gen Con. They always have like 1 or 2 because it's like it's coming out very soon, but we got 50 copies or whatever. So it's like, now I got to play the YouTube algorithm and, so I can be one of the first to get a review out, blah, blah, blah.
So are you allowed to actually show it?
Yeah, well, because it was sold at Gen Con. So it's out in the
other
public.
Things were sold at Gen Con that you're not allowed to show it as well.
Catalyst doesn't have a Pinkerton budget. We'll put it that way.
They've barely got a shipping budget.
I hate to call myself an apologist for Catalyst because I don't think I am. But I also I literally have friends at Catalyst. So I can't just have some of the blind internet hate for them. But then also I just look at some of the stuff and I'm like, guys, why are you being idiots? Please stop. I don't want to have to defend you or this or anything. And it's so annoying.
Did I tell you that the plushie that's meant to be part of my order is already on sale in some shops here? The Phoenix Hawk?
I didn't realize. Well, no, but the Phoenix Hawk that's been on sale for a while.
Oh, yeah, it's meant to be part of my backer rewards, and I still don't even have any of that yet.
No, Seraphis, I'm saying it's been in the wild for not for a couple of weeks. I'm talking for over a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they had them. It wasn't. It was an add-on for the Kickstarter, but that doesn't mean that it's a Kickstarter exclusive or something being made for the Kickstarter. It's think about it like this. It's like you added on a copy of Total Warfare to your Kickstarter pledge. Total Warfare has been in print since 2006, I think. So yeah. I'm truly very sorry, but I'm not an apologist.
You deserve that.
That's fair. Hey, I say whatever you want about Mage's musings. That dude has a quick wit.
He's cool.
So,
And a fine pair of onion buns.
Okay.
Clearly, I'm the only one who watches this video.
I was saying, isn't that one of the character names?
Yes.
I'm like, now I feel bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, since I'm taking over the conversation, how's everyone else doing this morning?
I haven't had enough coffee. I'm still drinking my coffee.
That's fair.
It was Father's Day here today, so
Hooray!
everyone was sick.
Everyone was still sick or new sick?
Well,
A combination.
you know how
thereof.
kids are at this age. Really, they get sick, they get better, but by that time they've spread it around again, and so we're going through cycle 2 of everyone being sick.
We're doing laps.
Yep. So I think I'm on to coming down with round 2 still, which is great because yesterday I was almost 100% better, and today I can barely breathe out of my nose again. So I'm waiting for that dip to happen, which is great because next weekend is the little girl's birthday. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to be sick for that still. I can tell you that.
No, you're gonna you're gonna be healthy by like Thursday. Okay.
I
Then
like your optimism.
Hold on. No, you haven't let me finish yet. Because then you're gonna have the birthday party with like 8 other 3-year-olds. And then you're going to get a whole new round of illnesses that weren't in your house yet.
And we can say goodbye to...
I was going to say, and I'm getting kicked off stream. So. Anyhow.
Yes. Oh, man. And forgot to have dinner tonight too, so, you know. Nothing like a midnight snack after all this is done. Before
a 3 a.m. snack?
Well, hopefully it won't be a 1 a.m. snack, but let's try to not go as long as we usually do. This is the Drek of today, Mage.
It's the dredges of the Drek.
Yes. Also, so is my face.
I was going to say that assumes that we're, planned and scheduled for specific topics.
I think I plan and schedule for the time, and then everything else is debatable. I've done my job. I've planned the time.
It's up to all of you to figure out what we talk about.
I'm like, it's your channel. Like, shouldn't you at least have like basic plan?
My basic plan is always chaos, though.
I mean, that's the life of a pirate.
That's
Exactly.
fair.
Yeah.
If he ever gets around to it.
Yeah, well, procrastinating.
Yeah, exactly. So, actually, I you know what? I will bring up a game related topic. So this book, Smooth Operations. Okay.
Yes.
It is for face type characters.
Yep.
And as I start reading through it, it's literally basically it's the social combat book for Shadowrun.
Yep.
And I realized this is James Bond Shadowrun. I've only read like 3 pages, but I'm super intrigued by that idea. Normally,
Is that going to be a book that you do a video of on your channel?
Yeah, I'll do a review on it.
I would give anything, figure of speech, but I would give anything if the title was Smooth Operators.
I literally said that 5
I know
minutes
that,
ago.
but that wasn't on the live. That was.
Oh, that's right.
See how I'm stealing your idea and trying to make it pass it off as my own? So I can't even take a drink of this because I'm laughing too hard.
I'd forgotten that we weren't live on that. But yes, it should be called Smooth Operators. Come on. Who made that decision?
Well, the good thing is you've got connections, so you can ask them.
I already mentioned it, and he's just like, yeah, no. No, whatever.
Well, clearly, Catalyst are not as cool as Fassa in that case. Fassa would have been all over an 80s reference.
No, which there's more than one, because actually, we'll see if anyone recognizes this. So the very first sentence of the introduction: out on the streets there is violence and lots of work to be done. Clearly, Brian has caught this way.
Well,
faster
I'm just going to
than
go
any of
down
us
to Electric Avenue and see what I can find. I mean, good God!
So now,
that's
again, where
Wow.
I'm going to get a little bit frustrated because so Jason tells me that, like, he's like, oh yeah, the first few lines of the introduction were all 80s references because of the title of the book. So now think about like the beat and the tenor of the song. Okay, so we've already got the first line. It is literally lifted from Electric Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
But it does like the rest. So okay, second sentence. Deep in your heart, you may know you're a warrior, but your weapons are not the typical ones. It doesn't fit. Hold on. It doesn't fit the song. It doesn't fit the beat. But he sent me, like, he's like, oh, it's 80. Like, he'd said, oh, it's the first couple of lines. No, it's just the first sentence.
Well, so that next one that's like Karate Kid, right?
No. It's literally only the first sentence. That's the like he says, oh, it's the first, and then it's not. But then it's like set my stupid ADHD brain that's gonna like hone in on this because I'm looking at this second sentence and I'm like, wait a second, this could work, and they should have written it. Now, again, keep in mind the tone and the beat of the song.
Wait,
in your heart,
read the second part again.
Deep in your heart, you may know you're a warrior, but your weapons are not the typical ones. Okay. Now, I looked at this for a couple of minutes, and this is what I came up with. Same sentence, same meaning, same everything. Deep in your heart, you're a warrior, but your weapons are not typical ones. And boom, it fits in the beat, it fits in the tone. It's just rewriting words for the song. And they could have kept it going, but they didn't. So annoyed. And I don't even fancy myself a writer.
I mean, to me, this is all just another notch on why Catalyst suck. So, okay, since you've got the new books and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, is it true that they changed the magic system, quote unquote, back after the 5th edition one?
I don't know. Seraphis, when do I play?
I haven't had a chance to play in like Jesus, almost like a decade by this point. But oh no, not a decade. It's only been about 6 years. That's not too bad. Anyway.
So you played 5th edition, but you haven't touched 6th edition.
No, I've only gotten the starter set and I haven't collected anything else. Because the price over here is too expensive.
I mean, I buy everything. I get the books because I have a hookup. I mostly just buy the PDFs on this.
Yeah, the PDFs aren't much better. Not for our price.
Really? So it's US $50 for the book, which I do think is steep, mostly because there's nowhere near enough art in any of their books.
That means there's more information.
I agree with you to a point, Brian. However, that's
attractive.
For 8 to 10 pages. This is just wall of text. Break like we were talking about last week. Break it up with like a little like quarter panel or something. Just,
I like walls of text.
There's too many walls of text.
That needs to be a new spell. Wall of text.
Wall of text. Your opponent is
your opponent falls asleep reading.
Yes. Is stunned by trying to get through the terms of service.
I prefer weaponized memes myself, but
weaponized memes. So I don't know. It's too much wall of text. It could be fair. A shorter wall.
Another word in the wall.
Anyways, but yeah, it is $50 for the hardcover. Okay, but then like I actually think they're pretty reasonable for the PDF side because it's $20. It's like, okay, I can deal with that. But like Renegade Game Studios for like G.I. Joe. So just as an example, the core rule book for G.I. Joe is I think it's actually like $60. Amazon says 45, but whatever. But then okay, 55 on their website. And then the PDF is $38.50. So almost $40. Like, so they're barely taking anything off. Why would I not buy the physical book at that point? So
yeah, I mean, I feel like PDFs should be priced in such a way that you're almost incentivized to purchase it over the physical. I mean, at least if that's how I was producing it, that's what I would want, because that cuts out physical inventory. It cuts out shipping logistics, both domestically and internationally. And then it also, I mean, with physical books, well, I mean, okay, I guess with physical books and PDFs, I mean, you're still using the revenue from that to cover your overhead costs. I get that. But if I eliminate, the shipping process, if I eliminate the printing process, that those are the two major overhead costs with a physical book. I don't know. I think the PDF version should not be anywhere in the realm of what the physical book costs.
Yeah, I think it should be at least like, I'll just make up a number, but I'll say like at least 50%. If I'm not getting the PDF for half the cost of a physical, I think the company's doing something wrong. Because like I'm like I want to do the deep dive on My Little Pony. I'm probably going to do it with Kim. But like for having it on the screen, okay, having a digital copy, being able to reference it and show people. It's like I already bought the hardcover. I don't want to pay another hardcover to get the PDF. That I realize they've got licensing to deal with, but come on. So I don't know. Anyway, so I will give Catalyst props for that. I think $20 for a quote unquote new product is completely reasonable in the PDF realm when you compare it to your physical copy cost.
And I will say too that when we say PDF or digital, whatever, there is a big difference between what companies like that present to you when you purchase a digital copy versus what, like, for example, Wizards of the Coast does through D&D Beyond. I don't like the formatting of D&D Beyond. If I'm going to buy digital, it needs to be a downloadable PDF that I can have and that will reside on my computer. I understand why they choose not to, because of piracy. Simple, that's going to be their number one excuse as to why they don't do it.
But it's pirated anyways.
Sure.
that's they're not they're just making it piracy with extra steps.
Yeah. Well, if anything, I mean, they're going to make it, and not that I advocate it, but they just simply make it more of a challenge, and that right there is what spurs more people to run after it. I mean, look at what Free League does, with Mortborg, I can't remember the name of the other game, but they give that to you for free. They give you it's a bare bones edition. So if you want all the fancy, cool artwork that goes in it, I mean, you've got to, you have to pony up that cash. But otherwise, if you just want just the system itself, it's free.
Right.
As a PDF. And you can take that, you can have it on your computer, put it on your phone, whatever, carry it around with you. D&D Beyond. Well, I mean, I guess technically you can have it on your computer and on your phone. It doesn't lend very well to searching. So if I want to find a keyword, for example, I'm only allowed to look at D&D Beyond one chapter at a time and do Control F to find, that keyword.
Right. You can't search the whole doc.
Right. You can't search the whole document. And whereas a PDF, I mean, you throw that into Adobe Reader, search it, and you've found every single instance of that word.
Theoretically, sometimes the PDF reader gets weird. I love when you're like Control F and it's like, we found nothing.
Yeah.
What did you?
I'm staring at the word. I see the word. It says it right there.
And it's not like PDF technology is new. How did you screw up your own app? I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, no, exactly. But also now, correct me if I'm wrong, but with D&D Beyond, you have to be connected to the internet to use it, correct?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. So that's another thing. So back in April, we took a cruise.
Right.
I just took my iPad.
Yeah.
I have a whole, as much crap as everybody gives Drive-Thru RPG for whatever, I still don't see
I don't. I like them personally. I mean, I like the service that they offer.
I like the app. And I've like the fact that it's like, oh, here is an app. I would like this book. Boop. And it just downloads. I don't have to go. I don't have to transfer. I don't have to do anything, but it's still just the PDF.
Mm-hmm.
But boom, I can pull whatever I want. I can take it with me. I don't have to be connected to the internet. I can be grocery shopping with Kim, and I don't care about which box of cereal you pick out. I'm going to read Shadowrun because I have it. But yeah, if like, oh, we'll give you digital, but yeah, you have to literally be, sitting with your internet connection.
Yeah. Because
otherwise you're screwed.
Well, and not to mention that, okay, so if you download a PDF and it's on your tablet, your computer, wherever, and they decide they're going to add errata or change, an element, a spell or whatever, there's a whole new PDF you'll have to go out and get. But what you have is exactly what it used to be and what it will always be. D&D Beyond, however, they do some editing or changing of something. You may or may not ever know that that was changed. So, for example, I mean, if they change how a spell, works, or a material component of a spell, you may not know that you need 4 bat wings to make this, spell work.
Well, but in WotC's defense, that happens with drive-through as well. PDFs get updated all the time.
Sure, but you get notified when there's an update on that PDF.
That
I do. I get emails that say, this has been updated. Do you want the latest version? If so, log in and grab it.
The app does do that, but my main issue there is it, like, I don't ever care that much. I'm just like, okay, update it, but then you can't go back and get the old version unless you've already archived it.
Right. You can't re-download the old version, but I mean, in my instance, I just save it to my hard drive and there you go.
Actually, and you know what? That's another thing that that's another thing actually that like, for as much grief as Catalyst gets, I'm gonna give them props on this too. So they put out, like, they had the original 6th World edition, but then when they went back for reprint, instead of just putting in errata, they did the Seattle edition. And so they gave you like an extra 16 pages of, here's some Seattle setting information for the book. Well, the PDF got updated so that you can now have the Seattle edition.
Nice.
And then when they went back for the next reprint, they took Seattle out and put in Berlin. And if you had already purchased it, hey, here's the updated version with Berlin, but you can actually still go back and download the Seattle edition. So that they have done right as well. So I will admit, Seattle edition was a cool idea, but it was a little disappointing because a couple of months later they released the Seattle source book. And it turns out like everything from the little Seattle section was just lifted out of the Seattle source book. So if you got that, you just got duplicate stuff anyways.
Yeah.
However, Berlin is not getting a source book. So that little bit of information is actually new stuff that at least for some time is not going to be reprinted anywhere. So anyways.
And that's what we have to say about that.
Yeah, no, I was reading this comment from Goss in Rome about not answering Kim's questions about cereal. Goss, I've been married for over 25 years. I don't have to answer the questions about cereal because she already knows she's going to get whatever works. Or at least she's going to come back with like 2 choices and say, pick one. Toss them both in. I don't care. He's alive.
4 boxes of each.
Yeah, right?
And they'll still sit there and go stale. I should take a picture. I really should take a picture of all the cereal boxes we have in the kitchen. Every single one of them is stale, and yet I still haven't thrown any of them out.
Well, I mean, if it's sealed, it's fine.
No, it's not. I mean, we open it and, have a bowl full, no milk, just, eat it raw. And then it just continues to sit there for the next 4 months.
No, but also, again, in the glories of getting old, cereal just doesn't, like, when I want cereal, is never a good time for me to have cereal.
Right.
And because also, like, I've got, not to get into medical issues, but I've got this hernia thing going on. And so if I like, and it's not like dairy's usually okay, like I can eat cheese, but like milk and cereal, which then ends up with sugar milk, which is the best part. So you're going to drink that after you're done. But then it's I'm not going to sleep well. It's going to end horribly. So I don't eat the cereal anyways.
That's pretty much where we've gone. So now we're looking at the ingredients and going, okay, is this cereal chicken safe? Can our chicken eat this? We've got oatmeal that expired a year ago. Can we open the oatmeal up? Will the chicken eat those oats? Are they still good? What if the dog eats it?
I guess the real question is, how much do you like the dog?
Oh, we love the dog. She's family, but she's also old, and it's less how much do we like the dog as how much do we want to clean up after the dog. That's the bigger question.
I can't clean up after myself. I don't want to clean up after a pet.
Yeah.
So, by the way, the PDFs on DriveThruRPG are $30 for the Shadowrun stuff.
30 Australian?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's already getting a little bit too much.
Sure, but again, so then it goes to what's the cost on the physical copies for you guys?
Oh, well, the physical copies. So the core rulebook is $80.
Okay, which I think it's that might be 50 as well. I don't know. My I have it here somewhere. Oh, there it is. And it doesn't have the price on the back. Never mind.
Well, 80 Australian is currently about $55 US.
Okay.
However, then all of the other books like Firing Squad, Street Weird, Double Clutch, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
are all basically $80 to $85.
Yeah, actually, that I was going to say the 6 World Core rulebook is $50 retail in the US.
Okay, so the lowest price I can find it locally here is still bumped up in price.
Well, sure. Right. Again, I'm just making sure that we're comparing the numbers properly. So, but I mean, my point while you were gone was that I think they've done it right in that the cost of the PDF is less than half the cost of the physical book, which, while, maybe, outside of your budget, is still better than like Renegade with G.I. Joe. They're charging, 80% of the cost of the physical book for their PDF. Why would I bother buying your PDF ever? So we've stumped him.
No, I was looking up something else, but both does and doesn't prove my point, so it's kind of hard to use it as a example.
What?
But anyway.
What?
Okay, yeah, I'll show you.
I was. Tori, tell me what the topic is, and we'll tell you if we've gotten off of it. Okay.
Well,
So-
see, that clearly says that it's $0.
What I was going to point out is that, yeah,
Real
technically
quick.
it's under half the price for the PDF, but
Seraphis.
Yep.
Zoom in on that. Control mouse wheel. Hey, look, we can see it. Whoa, too much, too far. There we go.
Wow. Yeah. So like if you get just the book itself, it's $50. If you get just the PDF, it's another $20. But if you get them both, that means that the PDF is only about $5 more.
Yep.
So they bundle it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's an incentive for me to get the physical and the PDF at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, no, right, exactly. I like there's a lot of times where I've paid physically for both. You know, like there was I remember there was what, like, I think it was when Shadowrun 5th edition came out. I bought the PDF for like $20. But then I got the core rulebook on Amazon for like $30. So it was like, oh, it was the same retail price and I got both. Okay, this works for me. Yeah. Well, but that's like Mage's comment. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I love Drive Through RPG, because at least I'm getting the physical PDF, or the quote unquote physical PDF that I can download. I could download the first version and archive it, and then they put out errata, and I can download that version and save that. You know, so yeah, I don't look at PDFs the same way as I look at like D&D Beyond.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I see D&D Beyond as a completely different entity in medium for digital content. I'm not a fan of it in any way.
Yeah.
It's there. I have a D&D Beyond account that as a reviewer, sometimes I get the PDFs on there and sometimes I don't, and it does make it easier to you know, if I'm going to show a screen capture of something, it makes it easier for that. But ultimately, if I'm going to digest content digitally, I would prefer to have it as a PDF that I don't have to be online at that moment to read it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, and I'll be honest with you, in this day and age, I mean, I'm probably within arm's reach of being online at any given moment. You know, whether it's on my phone or on a tablet or at work or at home and, you know, in front of a computer. But I recognize that my lifestyle is different than other lifestyles. I'm not going to the beach every day like some people might, who want to read something that's not chewing up a data plan. So anyway, I prefer not to use, you know, I don't like having to have digital content that tethers me to being online.
Right. And Tori brings up a good point. It's like, oh, well, if I'm not playing D&D Beyond, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And she's right to a point, but it depending on the situation, it's an aspiration for other companies. The way that everything has gone
Well,
to
look
audience
at
capture.
look at Photoshop and Adobe and what they've done. You know, I mean, it used to be you could go buy the physical copy of it and it was on your computer and they couldn't take that away from you. Now it's a damn subscription service, and I oppose that practice at every turn. I do not like I don't want to add another monthly bill to my already growing amount of bills.
But they want you to add another.
Yes, of
monthly
course
bill.
they do. They make, I mean, from a business side of things, they're making money hand over fist. I get that. That's great. That's you know, that's the whole point of being in business, is to make money, not to be a charity. I get that. But as a consumer, that definitely shapes the direction that I open my wallet. You know, I'm not a fan of renting information. I'm not a fan of subscription services.
Mhm.
You know, do I have Netflix? Yes. One could argue, well, I mean, you know, of all the shows that you're going to watch, why not just go buy the DVD copy of it? Well, because for a lot of stuff, it's crap, and I just watch it once and I'm done with it.
Well, that I think is a little different, because streaming is the new cable, you know. So
Sure.
I don't necessarily want to own it, but I want to have access to a service that's going to give me, you know, access.
And
to
I think
stuff.
that's the key difference right there, is service. You know, for me, it's not worth that service to go out and purchase something or rent something month after month after month. On specifically, and I'm specifically talking D&D Beyond. For other people out there, it's the perfect system for them.
Mhm.
You know, they've got, I don't know what it costs per month to have it, but assume it's, you know, $15. I just arbitrarily picking that number out. I don't know exactly. You know, they can afford the $15 a month for entertainment, and for them, you know, that probably does provide an unlimited amount of entertainment, or at least access to that unlimited amount of entertainment. I saw that kind of the same thing when I was playing World of Warcraft. You know, for me, it was $10 a month or whatever it was, and I could jump in anytime I had free time and just play it unlimitedly. You know, so it versus going to see a movie, you know, where it would cost me $15 for a ticket plus another $30 for popcorn per person, you know, popcorn, drink, whatever per
Right.
person. And now, you know, I just got 2.5 hours worth of entertainment for 4 people, and I just spent $120 versus, you know, I could go buy 3 subscriptions to Warcraft, one for me, one for my son, one for my daughter. We're paying $30 a month, and we're going to have as much entertainment as we have time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess, you know, it's all up to the individual and how they justify that expenditure. But for me, D&D Beyond, I'm not a fan of it.
Well, and I think there's also just the evolving mentality. Like for something like, say, World of Warcraft, there are ongoing costs to Blizzard to run that game.
Sure.
You know, whether it's customer service agents or developers or server space or bandwidth or whatever the reasoning is.
Sure.
But with role-playing games, you know, this is an old, we'll call it an old technology, you know, books, dice, whatever.
Right.
You know, I don't technically, I mean, I realize that Wizards wants to move it into that digital, we have our ongoing costs, so you do need to pay us. But again, it's still an old technology that just give me my PDF. I'll store it. That's fine. Yeah. You know, I don't need to pay you monthly to get my, you know,
Spell, my magic missile spell.
Right. Exactly. You know, so it you know, just like Tori said, subscriptions aren't always bad or inherently bad. It just depends on what it is and what it's offering.
Right. I mean, can you imagine having a subscription service to a cereal?
I mean, they kind of do.
Magic Spoon does.
I was gonna say, yeah, like,
oh, wow, yeah, you're right.
Well, but I mean, I think even that's a little bit different. I mean, there's sort of a subscription service where it's like, okay, every month I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy a new box of cereal. I'm just doing it that way as opposed to
Yeah.
signing up online. But well, no, here's what I would say would be a ridiculous subscription service. I buy my PDF from DriveThruRPG, but I also pay $5 a month to make sure that my library stays active.
Right.
You know, why? You're still there distributing it.
Isn't
What's
that
the difference?
basically the Game Pass system on like PlayStation and EA and all the rest of that shit?
It sort of is, except in that instance on like PlayStation, like every so often they'll remove a large batch of games.
Oh wow,
yeah, you also
don't
don't-
know your games then.
But you also don't. No, you don't have to pay. That's the thing, is you're not buying the games. If you buy a game, it never goes away. But the game passes are usually, I'm going to pay
Right.
X, but I get access to all of these games that I quote unquote didn't pay for.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with them, removing access to that because I didn't pay it. Now, what is crappy, I did hear about 1 year. So Amazon, okay, you can go and buy Mickey's Christmas Carol, okay, in like July. Great. Oh, suddenly it's December, and everybody wants to watch Mickey's Christmas Carol. Oh, sorry, Disney removed access to this.
Yeah.
Wait. I bought it. I didn't rent it. I bought it. Why did you take access away from this?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's Christmas and it's popular, so we're going to show it on the Disney Channel. So you have to go subscribe over there. But why? I bought it. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
So, physical or downloadable media. And even then, I'll admit I'm bad at it.
I have a solution, but
Well, let's hear it.
Actually,
Well, listen. So I'm going to tell you something. Piracy. There's a really famous saying, and I'm going to butcher it, but I'll give you the surmising of it. Piracy is not about trying to obtain illegal software. It's about the bad experience that we get as a customer of that company. That's if y'all talk a minute, I'll look that quote up because it's a really good quote.
for anyone who is Australian, British, or ever got any of those movies, and who had to sit through that fucking piracy thing that you couldn't skip through,
you wouldn't steal a car.
Yes, you know it.
Yeah,
Yes.
the parody that they did on IT Crowd was amazing.
Yes.
Okay.
That
So the quote is this: the easiest way to stop piracy is not by putting anti-piracy technology to work. It's by giving those people a service that's better than what they're receiving from the pirates.
And you want to know what the perfect example is? BitTorrent. Who remembers
BitTorrent?
BitTorrent? BitTorrent? No. No. Who remembers using BitTorrent?
remembers.
Remembers? It's running right now.
It is.
No. So the thing is, Netflix basically killed piracy because it was cheap, it was easy, and they had everything. And then suddenly,
They got you hooked and took it all away.
well, no, they didn't take it all away.
Well, they lost it.
They lost it because then the companies, like, you go overseas and they'll have Netflix and
Yeah.
Hulu and Disney, whatever. Maybe that's all, like they'll have like 3 streaming services. That's where we get screwed in the United States. Why does NBC need their own streaming app?
Right.
NBC needs one. CBS needs one. ABC ABC's Disney, but there's 8,000
ESPN, yeah.
Right.
All of it.
8,000 different streaming apps that, now you want 10, 15, 20 bucks a month. Why am I not just paying for cable and getting 8,000 channels that I don't watch anyways? So the thing is that all of the entertainment businesses brought piracy back because they all got greedy having to have their own apps. So
Tori says, yet if there wasn't 3,000 apps, we'd start complaining about a monopoly.
you know what?
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point. But like at the time, like I had like it was Netflix, Amazon, and I think there was like a third one, that were like quote unquote big at the time, and that was fine. I think that was reasonable. Like Netflix typically had like the new stuff, and then Amazon had all like the cheesy 80s stuff that like nobody would watch, but it's like, oh, this I'll watch that. It's horrible, but this is
like
fun.
The Barbarians.
Yeah, right. There was one night, and actually, I'll give Amazon this. This is great because they'll upload the trailers as well. There was one night, Kim and I couldn't pick anything to watch. Nothing seemed interesting, but we were watching like 60s and 70s and 80s trailers. We're just flipping through. It's like, what is this movie? And we just watched the trailer. And we did that for like 2 hours. It was great. We didn't watch any of the movies, but we just watched these horrible trailers. It was fantastic. But yeah, so like 3 streaming services, like, oh, this is, and it wasn't unreasonable on the budget. We had more content than we needed. So great. But no, now it's like, oh, it's all siloed and isolated, and like I think I still haven't seen the third Psych movie because you have to subscribe to Peacock for it, and I don't even want to sign up for the free trial for it.
Well, and not to mention that, okay, so a little bit of a transition here, I guess, in this stream. So you get hooked on a cool show, and like each platform has its own signature show that they do, and then you'll kind of watch a couple of other things and get hooked on those. So like, for example, we got hooked on watching The Judge. That's on, I think it's on Netflix, and there were 2 seasons of it. Has Bryan Cranston in it, or Your Honor, sorry, not The Judge, Your Honor, TV show. Has Bryan Cranston in it. Really good, very entertaining. But there's only 2 seasons, and now we're questioning whether or not there's going to be a third season. They certainly left it wide open for a third season, but we may or may not see that. Look at what HBO did with Westworld.
Well, but that's not necessarily a streaming service problem. That's a television industry problem.
Well, sure, but it's on a streaming service. I mean, that's how I access it.
No, I know. No, but I'm just saying you're saying, well, we might not get a third season. There's always been those problems. Like, who watched Space Above and Beyond? Okay, well, Brian missed out. Sorry.
You missed out on something amazing.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
It had 1 season. It ended on a massive cliffhanger, and then they canceled it.
Oh, that's the same thing they did with Twin Peaks almost 30 years ago now.
So it's nothing. That's nothing new. The problem is,
I know it's nothing new, but it's still something that I want to complain about because, damn it, I like watching these shows and I want to see these characters. I'm still jonesing for a fucking season 16 of Supernatural. That show ended way too soon. I need 40 seasons of that. I want to see them still running around chasing vampires and werewolves and all of that while they're in wheelchairs.
Yeah, Tori, you're right. Firefly is another good example.
Yeah.
Actually, Firefly is one that I like to complain about just because of the fact that I think its fans are borderline ridiculous. Because it's like, I'm sorry, you got 13 episodes. That's not enough for you to be this kind of a fan. Just calm down.
Especially since, it's basically a ripoff of an anime.
Sure, but it was done really well. But the biggest problem with Firefly was just the fact that or the problem for Firefly was the fact that Fox couldn't air it properly. I was watching some YouTube video about it, and apparently like the first episode they ever aired was episode 3. So they didn't have like the proper like launch episode introducing all the characters. But then they did that like they did the pilot like third in line, and it's like you're idiots. So but yeah, those are all kind of, typical industry problems.
To be fair, Disney and Nickelodeon have both had that problem too, except when they would, one of the big problems they did that with was Power Ranger shows, where they would like start playing. They'd start the show from like from episode 5 or something, and so you would have all the character development and like basis for what the season was going to be about in those first few episodes. You go in completely blind, and then they play them at the end of the season.
What?
I cannot imagine living in that kind of environment because I would go insane.
Well, that's chaos.
Yes. Like, oh, look, it's a new... like, say you're interested in Power Rangers, and you're, right age demographic or whatever, right? And you go, oh, look, a new series. Let's see what it's about. What the... Okay, they're already Power Rangers? Okay.
So yeah,
Wait,
so
who-
they start the series like midway through, and then at the end of it is when they do like they show the first few episodes.
Yeah.
So are you going to do the intro for this for today's stream?
Oh, well, yeah, we should get started. Yep.
We should get
Thank you. I hope now that we've got the pre-stream out of the way, we can get all the jitters and stuff, start talking serious now.
60 minutes in.
5722, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm still looking to see some the continuation of Thundercats, and the Flintstones. I mean, why was that stuff canceled?
No. Okay, I can understand like the 80s versions being canceled where it was just like we're just going to keep making stories. There's no ongoing stories. Thundercats 2011. That needed to continue. Oh. Wait, are you shaking your head as in it was bad, Seraphis? Because you're wrong.
No. I'm saying Brian missed something good.
Oh, man. Dude, Thundercats 2011, like, take the premise of Thundercats, which isn't horrible anyways. I've gone back and watched episodes of Thundercats. I'm like, that is way better than I thought it was. Actually, I went back and watched episodes of He-Man, which still aren't very good, but are way better than they deserve credit for. I mean, yes, they've got that early 80s, late 70s kind of vibe to them, but they're solid stories.
There's some surprisingly large amounts of not only progressiveness in their stories, like, Adam's mum, for example.
What? I mean,
she's an Earthling Colonel astronaut.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. And that was early 80s. I mean, I don't even think Sally Ride had gone up in space yet. Not yet.
She hadn't. So really, that was coming off of the back of like Star Trek more than actual real events yet.
Oh, sure, yeah. Anyways, but real quick, actually, just to finish the thought, because I got distracted. But Thundercats 2011 then takes the premise of Thundercats and modernizes it, and so has the ongoing story and does it really, really well. But they got one season and canceled. Yeah. Oh, I was so pissed when they canceled that one.
The He-Man one as well. I want to say that because as I was
The
saying
new
with
one?
no, I hate the new one.
Okay.
Revelations pissed me the fuck off because it treated its ideas like they were something their own, when the only real good idea, good idea, the only real idea that they had was a stupid one, and they got to it by shitting over cooler aspects or pre-established things. Like, for example, no one knows in Eternia that the Queen is an Earthling. So why would the king divorce his wife after learning that she knew that Adam was actually He-Man after he supposedly died?
But the queen never knew he was, like, no one knew. That was the cat.
But isn't he being a hypocrite because he hasn't exactly told the rest of Eternia that she's a human being from another planet?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I wasn't going that direction. I just thought it was. No, that's because it, like, so many people, like, especially in Hollywood, want to, like, they want to subvert our expectations. No, just give me more of what you've been giving me in the past. Don't subvert it. Just here's another story using all of the cool stuff that we already did.
Yeah. But like, and the 2000s, what was that, 2010 He-Man, where they actually introduced King Grayskull in a flashback where he's basically leading the barbarian tribes of Eternia, pushing back the demon horde. You know, the guys that end up being the bad guys in She-Ra.
Right.
Like, that was gearing up to be like this massive show that could have had a lot of good stuff to it, and it got cancelled too. Like, fuck.
Yeah, I think if we keep going down this route, we're just going to complain about everything that got canceled. But anyway, but that's one of the great things about role playing games.
So tell me what you liked about The Acolyte.
I would have to watch The Acolyte.
Hold on, I need to pull down my pants first and really get up into my anus.
But my point is, that's not a complaint. We wouldn't complain about it being canceled.
No, I'm not saying things can't be canceled, but you know, we know that there's the potential for good writing out there. And that's the other thing. I'm not even going to say that all of Disney Star Wars is bad.
Right.
I think Rogue One has problems, but it's still fun. A lot of people crap on Solo.
I liked it. Now I'm going to tell you something.
It's not great, but it's fun.
I'm going to tell you something. I think the reason that people crap on Solo specifically, that came out shortly after the Rian Johnson Star Wars movie, not Force Awakens,
the second one, whatever it was.
Whatever it was. And
The Last Jedi.
Thank you. And we were so opposed to that movie that, and I say we, I'm not saying you, me, and Seraphis, but we as in, the general fans were so opposed to that movie that we weren't willing to drop more money to go see another Star Wars movie. It may have been the best Star Wars movie ever, but we weren't willing to open our wallets at that time. And Kathleen Kennedy is all about, well, it was bad writing and that's why people didn't go see it. And, the acting was terrible. And no, that's not it. You made a piss poor decision to bring in Rian Johnson to do this movie, and he didn't understand the movie. He didn't understand the characters. Luke's not going to take his lightsaber that he made and just toss it back behind him into the ocean. That's not
No, that wasn't the one he made in Jedi. That was Anakin's one.
Or yeah, he's not going to take his dad's and throw it away. I mean, that's just not now. So, I mean, that's what pissed people off about Solo is they never even bothered to give it a chance. I liked the movie. I thought it was a great movie. I would have loved to have seen a sequel to it.
I'll be honest. I loved the honest trailer for Solo. If you haven't seen that,
yeah,
it's the origin of all of Han Solo's stuff. You're just like, that is
accurate,
completely accurate to that movie. But
ever wonder where that gadget in the cockpit came from? Here we go.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, so that's the thing. It doesn't like I don't hate all of Disney Star Wars. Bad Batch is decent. Not a huge fan of Clone Wars.
Stop killing the characters off.
I haven't finished it. I'm only through like season 1.5 or something.
No one dies.
No one dies. I don't get upset over spoilers either. It's fine.
Everyone dies.
But yeah, it just give us good stories.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and that's the issue that it boils down to with Acolyte. You know, they Hedlund, Kennedy, the actress, they all want to jump in and say, well, everybody's hating on it because, you know, they're homophobic and they're racist and they're bigots, and that's not it. You know, it was bad writing. You know, it did not fulfill our expectations of what the Star Wars universe was. It went against canon. I mean, you've got one guy that was in there that claims that the Sith hasn't existed in how long, and then yet, anyway, you know, it's been talked about to death, but it boils down to just bad writing.
Right, and I can allow for some deviation from canon, because you can't, like, you have to be able to progress a story, and sometimes like it's not real. There's going to be discrepancies in the heck. We have discrepancies in real history.
Sure,
you know.
Sure.
But it's the.
Are you saying the Giants didn't build the Byzantine Empire?
No, it was the lizard people. Everybody knows this, Seraphis. Come on.
But which lizard people? The one with the green eyes or the one with the red eyes?
Blue.
That's where the discrepancy is.
No. But it's the lack of respect for even basic canon.
Yeah.
That's the big problem with the stuff. Anyway,
okay, hold on.
Hey, Tori. You can't hear you. She is fired up and has opinions. I can tell.
All right. How about that? Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Actually, I sort of have a question / challenge. So I heard that somebody talk about this once. I popped in right towards the end of the whole Luke Skywalker thing. And the argument was that it's not unreasonable, not unheard of for someone like him to get to a point where they are cynical, to get to a point where they have tuned out, to, like, it would be a next step in evolution of his character that he would have how did they describe it? Basically, that it's not unrealistic that he would be so disillusioned with everything that maybe not to the point of tossing the lightsaber behind his back per se, but that is a valid and realistic character development that might happen. So what do you say to that? And if you had to write it differently but still keep to that idea, how would you present that idea?
I'll let you two go, and then I'll say mine.
Go, Seraphis.
Okay, there we go.
So I don't really agree with that, because we're talking about the same person who, you know, was willing to die rather than, you know, kill his father, who was a Sith Lord, to prove that there was still good in him.
Would you not say, though, that that's a young person, and that by the time you reach, and I can't speak to this, I'm just spitballing a little bit, but like, is it not that, especially with someone who is so strongly idealistic, what happens when that person is kind of worn down and broken down after a while? I mean, people do that. They start off idealistic and then they get cynical.
Okay, this is I'll go ahead. I'm sorry, Brian.
No, that's
I'm
fine.
going to jump in. So I'm going to look at it from a couple of different points of view. From a certain point of view, Goths in Rome says this perfectly. You don't take a beloved character after 40 years and make them the polar opposite of themselves. If you are going to do that, you at least need to show that.
Right.
Not just simply have a throwaway line where you toss a lightsaber behind you and go, meh. You have to at least show that. You have to develop that. They didn't do that. 2, I look at the source person. Who is Luke Skywalker? Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is the expert of who Luke Skywalker is, as is George Lucas, not Rian Johnson, who was hired in to do one movie. And in every interview that Mark Hamill did, he presented, this is not my Luke Skywalker. This is not what Luke Skywalker would do. I have to take his expertise over that character, over Rian Johnson's expertise or non-expertise of that character. Because of that, I don't think that you would have somebody that just suddenly shows up as cynical. Again, I'll wrap that back to what Goth said. You can't take that character after 40 years and make them a polar opposite of themselves. If you are, show it. Otherwise, you can't do that. That is going to piss fans off. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So my part 2 of that question is, how would you do that? Like, let's say the instruction was given that we want to present older Luke, that this has been, years in the future, that he's gone through whatever experience, and you want to show his character as someone who, what happens when someone who was idealistic to the max, like just the paladin of the group, what happens when the paladin loses their faith a little bit? What happens when they're shaken? What happens when age and bad experience have gotten to them? How would you have presented that?
According to Disney, you'd make the Kenobi series.
Oh, I even have problems with that. No, but the thing is, you have to first off, leaving the Kenobi series aside, because if you want to make the excuse of, oh, well, you do the Kenobi series, the problem is that was 5-6 years post the movie, so it doesn't count. In the movie, all we're presented with, and I don't claim to be a writer, but I'm just going to spitball this. So at the end of Force Awakens, we have the scene of Rey handing the lightsaber, fade to black. Boom. That's all we see.
Yeah.
A literal cliffhanger.
Right.
From a man obsessed with mystery boxes.
But we can, in the next movie, they could at least go in and they at least have to do some flashbacks. Show some scenes of Luke with Ben Solo, which was dumb. Why would Han and Leia name the kid Ben? They don't care about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Whatever. At least do some flashbacks. Show that he's trying to train this kid. He's trying to do something. And you can see that he's getting disillusioned because he can't be Yoda. He can't be that trainer who passes on the wisdom of the Jedi onto a kid. And so you can show him getting more disillusioned, but you have to spend some time developing that.
That would almost be a whole movie into itself.
It would,
Yeah.
and that's one of the problems. Maybe they should have done that instead of Rogue One. Hey, we're going to do this flashback movie to set up this next one so you can see this problem.
Oh, but we needed to know why the Death Star had a flaw in it. Didn't you know that?
Actually, that's my I didn't come up with this theory, but I agree with it completely. That's the problem with Rogue One. So think about like original Star Wars. Okay, New Hope. All right. If there's a flaw that you don't know about in your giant space battle station, why is it the hardest to reach place, the most heavily defended thing on the entire, artificial moon? Think about it. It's a trench. There's turrets and laser cannons and all sorts of stuff approaching this thermal exhaust port.
Yes,
but we don't know it's vulnerable. Then why do you have all of these defenses in the way of it? Why is this the only approach? And, nothing can, or quote unquote, nothing can get down it. So they put they put that it was that was a MacGuffin that didn't need to be made, but it was still a fun story. So whatever, I'll allow it.
Oh, and I should point out that I'm not necessarily like defending the new movies. I don't like the new movies. I don't even remember. I saw each of them one time and that's it. So you guys are talking about the scene and I have to sit there and stop and like, okay, what was was that the second one or the third one? I don't remember. But because I've already forgotten 90% of those movies, but it was just a channel that I really like was talking about because they're a psychology channel. And so they were talking about like Luke and how people, and I did find the theory really interesting of the concept, especially because it seems to me that someone who is so idealistic, especially when they're young, is potentially going to be very, very prone to a bigger upset. You know what I mean? Like if you're already semi-cynical to start with, you don't have very far to fall, so to speak.
Yoda was over 800 years old. He saw the slaughter. I mean, he saw the Jedi in their height, and they're at their most glorious, at their most powerful. He saw all of his friends in that order get completely slaughtered, killed, and massacred. He went into hiding, but he wasn't cynical. He didn't just say, fuck it. Luke, screw it, man. You don't want this life. No, he taught Luke.
Do you think the fact that he's not human makes a difference? Because like I'm just thinking, because sometimes in various fantastical worlds, the kind of some of the point of other races that are not humans are, and I'm not an expert on what Yoda's race is, but just having gone through recent fantasy.
I haven't told anyone.
Well,
literally.
the thought process there is that in some worlds they set it up so that fantasy races don't have the same kind of faults that humans do, or the same like one character might remain stoic like that and not have any problems, but a human person who is susceptible to human fallacies would potentially fall to like self-despair.
Well, maybe Yoda was human. He just ate a lot of asparagus and, being 800 years old. I mean, have you ever seen an 800-year-old human? Maybe that's what we evolve into looking like.
Maybe. But I'm throwing it out there is because I really did like the idea or the image, and I really did see potential in the idea of someone who is that idealistic and that like the hero and that on top of the world, and then having to suffer failure, self-doubt, like very personal failure. Now I have not read the books. All of the books that I've read have been pre Battle of like the Old Republic and that kind of stuff. I have not read any of the Star Wars books that are extended universe that are after the movies, so maybe there's much more to it there. I'm just curious about that development. Maybe not be. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know that the turn of character by itself is inherently bad. I just think that it was not done right. But maybe if it was done right, like you guys say, where if we established a whole movie that where we get to see Luke, kind of suffer and fall and stumble a little bit, and if it was presented better, do you think that people would have not been so radically against it?
Well, for sure.
Yeah, again, it always goes back to, is it good writing? And honestly, the new Star Wars overall has actually most everything in Hollywood lately has not been good writing.
Mm-hmm. Except Twisters. Twisters was really good.
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh, dude. It's really good. Like for once, it's a new movie that's actually good.
Yeah, the fact that we're sitting here for once, we finally have another good movie. I go back and depends on my mood, but I've been watching Perry Mason. And I'm not talking the new HBO Max Perry Mason, which I thought was trash. I'm talking the 50s black and white Perry Mason.
Yeah, my grandma watched that every day, and I got to listen to it.
Right, and it's way better than it has probably any right to be. And maybe it's not that good. But
oh, Columbo, dude. Like Columbo was the best. I have DVDs of that. I still watch that. It's so good.
Right. But what's new stuff that you do the same with?
I think that Hollywood's suffering under the weight of competing with the concept of content creators, because now we can go onto YouTube and we can find actual series of things or just channels that we like or people that we like. And I mean, I've gotten to the point where I don't even watch movies anymore or TV shows like at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but what's the difference between what you're watching on YouTube and what Hollywood's putting out?
Soul. Because it's not just writing. There's a lack of soul that I think that modern Hollywood movie, they're just so dead inside. They're so like lifeless. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's everything from the writing to the presentation to because sometimes good writing, sometimes good presentation can help accommodate for bad writing or some such. Mm-hmm. There's different facets to it, and it's almost like they're failing on every facet.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, I think for us, I used to love going to the movies. I have seen, you name an 80s movie, I probably saw it in the theater. You name a movie that's come out in the past decade, it's very doubtful that I've seen it in the theater. And it's doubtful that I've even tuned in online to watch it, or streaming to watch it. I think there's been a major transition to episodic TV shows, like, stuff like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Judge, and stuff like that. And because a lot of those, the writing is coming from a small team that has, I almost want to say more personal investment in the storyline, and not just this would be cool. It's not a turn your brain off, chew some popcorn and drink a soda and be numb. And that's what Hollywood has become. They there's some good movies. The Marvel movies are pretty fun.
The early ones.
Yeah. And there's some stuff that is cool to watch, eye candy and whatnot, but there's no major investment in it. There's no, I want to talk about this for the next 4 weeks. That just doesn't happen.
And that's not to say that a movie requires that to be good. There are movies that I love because I can shut my brain off and they're just eye candy. Sure. But even the eye candy anymore is just, there's something, it's like the uncanny valley, but on an emotional, there's the uncanny valley in animation, which you guys, I'm pretty sure know what that means, or what you don't know what the uncanny valley is.
No.
Mm-hmm.
The uncanny valley refers to when something is so hyper realistic, specifically something animated, that is so realistic that it looks completely human, except technically it's not. So your brain only registers it on a subconscious level, not on a conscious level. And it causes us as living people to kind of go, wait, what? And it's jarring. Now, I think it oftentimes gets used in an incorrect context, but technically that's what it is. It's when something is approaching realism so close that the thing that makes it not real is like very vividly obvious, especially on an instinctual level. So it's kind of like that, but with emotions and not animation. It's like we watch these movies and it's like approximating emotion, and it's like there's something about it though that just it makes you kind of go and you tune out.
Yeah, and actually what I like specifically about Uncanny Valley is there's some meme, and I'll probably butcher it, that goes, okay, so the existence of the Uncanny Valley, you know, something that seems realistic but our brain knows it's not, means that our brains have somehow evolved a defense mechanism to say,
yes.
Wait, why does that thing seem human, but I know it's not, and it disturbs me? What are we actually afraid of?
I think that actually the answer to that is not afraid of the thing, but afraid of the not us. So basically, yes. I think that the reality is that our brains evolved to respond that way to anything that's not actually us. So it's not that there is a thing we needed to be afraid of at all. It's just we just default to it's I don't know, it's like the inverse of that basically. I rabbit trail, but
hey Seraphis, I hate to do it, but I gotta run.
Yep. Oh, no worries.
Sorry if I talk
have
too
a
much.
good one. No. We got a lot of stuff going on here at the house.
Yeah.
Today, so.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good one. Peace out.
You too, buddy.
Bye. Woohoo.
Yes, we got rid of him.
Oh no.
No, I'm kidding. Actually, I'm gonna have to go here in a minute as well. But
right, it's about that time. But I wanted, you guys were talking about the Star Wars, and I just wanted to put that out there again. Not as a defense of the movies. I really don't like the movies, but I did like the idea of the character, assuming that it could be presented better.
No, I think it's an interesting idea to put forward. The problem is just that, like we said, they didn't do any of the legwork to sell it to the audience,
to earn it. They didn't earn it.
Yes,
maybe
that's a good way to put it. It wasn't earned. It was forced, and it goes back to that. We're gonna subvert expectations. Why? Well, because that's what we do these days. Stop. Just meet our expectations. What is wrong with meeting our expectations?
I mean, when you subvert every expectation ever all the time, then nothing is.
Yeah, exactly. So
you have to have expectations to subvert, and you can't do that if you don't. I mean, that's my theory. Is that it's done too much. You're like, I don't know if this is a hot take, but here's something. I absolutely am done with every single villain needing to be some sympathetic character who was maybe possibly right to some. I miss having just a straight up bad guy who is just being evil. Like, it's okay. Let them be evil. We don't need to give everyone a sob story.
No, well, I mean, there is the why did they become evil? Okay, I get that. I think it's served better in a long running story. But yes, there is something about the quote unquote short story or the one and done. This is an evil guy. Why? Who cares? He's the bad guy. Let's go be heroes and put down the bad guy.
Yeah, kind of miss that sometimes.
Yeah, which I'll bring it all back around because this is technically a gaming channel. That's one of the great things about like role-playing games. You can do a one-shot. We're going to go beat up the bad guy. Why? I don't know. He's a bad guy. Let's go kill it.
Yeah.
Or, you could keep the theme of a game the way it was supposed to be and not turn it into a cartoon. Dragon Age.
I didn't play Dragon Age. Sorry.
I can't be mad at them. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying I'm not saying they're perfect, but I can't be mad at them. I don't know if turning it into our cartoon is quite the way I describe that.
Have you seen the googly eyes Darkspawn?
No. And I'm actually playing the game, so
okay, go watch the latest trailer for the new game.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
I don't do game trailers or anything like that. It ruins it. I then can't enjoy the game for what it is because I spend the whole time thinking about what I saw before. I don't like setting my own I like starting completely raw. Like I've never seen this game before. Put it in, title screen, let's play. So I do. And also I don't even know if I'm really going to get the new game because as much as I love Dragon Age to like the bottom of my heart, even I have to like have a stopping point where I'm like, I don't have a whole lot of hope that it's really going to be like, I extended a lot of forgiveness and I extend a lot by defending Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition. So it's kind of like, even I have my limits. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I defend Catalyst. So what,
yeah, I still like 2 and Inquisition to certain degrees. I still defend them. I still like, I like ME2 more than I like ME3. But I've really only played ME3 once. I haven't gone back and replayed that one like the others, but there's, yes, Grumpy, there is a new Dragon Age and that has me slightly terrified. I mean, I have like the books, like I've read the books and, I'm really invested in the universe. So it's like, how many people, be honest. How many of us, when they announced episode 7, was like, this is not good? Because I remember arguing with someone. I worked at Best Buy at the time. So we had all of the posters and we had the big cardboard displays and go see the new movie. We got a whole bunch of toys that came in because they were preparing for the release of the new episode. And this was the first episode. This was before we all knew what the new movies were going to turn into, really. And I remember getting in a fight with one of the guys I worked with because he was like, oh, I'm just excited to see another Star Wars movie. Aren't you excited? And I'm like, no, because it didn't need another movie. It was really good as it was. Like this is they're not going to do anything that's going to improve this in any way, shape, or form. It can only go downhill from here was kind of my.
I'm going to have to push back on you because as someone who has seen all the original Star Wars in the theater. I wasn't old enough for the first one, but I actually literally have a vivid memory of my older brother taking me to a dollar theater. So basically it was like third run movies. Double feature of Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. So that was amazing.
That would be cool.
But again, so that was early 80s. I remember my dad taking me to see Return of the Jedi, 83. So, but then there's this 15, 20-year gap, more or less, where there wasn't any Star Wars. It just didn't exist. And then suddenly, and that's the other thing. We all knew that it was episodes 4, 5, and 6. So then suddenly, hey, we're going to put out episode 1. Wait, what? We're going to get more?
That would be so exciting because of that setup of the fact that you already knew there was a 1, 2, and 3 before the 4, 5, and 6.
But, Tori, there were also rumors that there was supposed to be 7, 8, and 9. So, if we're going to get 1, 2, and 3, are we going to get 7, 8, and 9? And this was before Lucas sold it to Disney. So,
right.
Like, the Disney screw up wasn't even a thing.
Well, and then that just adds a layer onto it, though. So, like, if there was nothing, and then episode, because my dad took me to see episode 1 in theaters. That's how young I am, but because I was a wee kid at the time. But if it was still 1, 2, and 3 was still made by the original creator. So
but that has its own issues that I'll go into another time when I have
Right.
more time.
yeah, I end up going back and forth because I really don't like the prequels. But my better half
Clone Wars
actually.
definitely helps the prequels.
Which one?
The Clone Wars, the TV series.
I've heard that. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
seen
well,
it,
'cause
but I've heard that.
Well, because again, it fills in all of the stuff that makes that. Again, it goes back to the storytelling. Why is Luke an asshole in the sequel movies? We don't know. They don't really explain it.
So
But-
you're
Go ahead. Sorry.
sorry. So you're saying that when they announced episode 7 and it was Disney and it was sold as a property, you were not sitting there thinking to yourself, "Oh, this isn't going to be good." Like you were
No.
genuine.
No, I came out of Force Awakens excited for what was going to happen, because for me, the prequels did kind of suck. Okay, I remember the Phantom Menace, and it's like it was boring, and it's like, okay. I mean, I was excited to have more Star Wars, but the like so the reason that Force Awakens worked in my head was because, for all intents and purposes, it was a remake of
A New Hope. Yeah.
Okay.
Which everyone complained about, but you
Hold on.
liked.
No, I didn't necessarily like it, but in my head, what I was being told is, hey, we know that you all got upset over the prequels because they kind of, messed with what you thought Star Wars was. But in my head, they were telling us,
We're
gonna
returning
go
to form.
Right. We're returning to form. We're going to give you what you were expecting.
Okay, I could see that. I
And
remember.
then they did the second one and said, ha, screw you. You thought we were going to be nice. No, we're not. And that's when they lost me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Go
never
ahead.
had any hope for 7, 8, or 9 because I'm a dirty Trekkie as well. So I already saw that cunt fuck up Star Trek to such a degree that my thought of him going to Star Wars was, oh, he's gonna fuck this shit up now too.
Yeah.
Real quick, because I do have to go. I wasn't upset over that because I didn't look at those as Star Trek movies. Those were fun action movies with a Star Trek skin on them. But the fact that they're like, oh, alternate universe, so none of this counts. Exactly. None of it counts. So I don't really care.
What does that say about a franchise when that's what you have to do to enjoy it, is pretend it's not actually connected to the IP that it's set in?
I don't know.
Well-
That's what we're doing with Star Wars, isn't it?
Anyways, it is 10 after 8. I have 20 minutes to get to church, and I'm clearly not ready. So, Tori, it was wonderful. Seraphis, thank you so much for having me. Sorry for dominating much of the conversation again. Everyone in chat, I'm sorry for you all as well. But all right, I'm out. Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye. To which, thanks for having me on to come dominate the back half of the conversation.
It happens.
Yeah, it's good. It's good conversation. It's good. It's good. That's why I love these episodes.
Yeah. Well,
Uh.
you know.
All right, it's about that time for you.
Yeah, especially if I want to get a snack in before I go to bed.
Oh yeah, go get a snack. I have a cat scratching at the door, so I probably should bounce too. But it was fun. It was fun.
Cool.
All right.
Well, I'll start the episode then in that case. So,
yeah,
hi
yeah.
everyone. Welcome to Talkin Drek. As you can see, we've done the pre-roll giggles and stuff out of the way, and Game Masters and
Professional.
gaming with gaming with ADHD have already buggered off because that's what they have to do sometimes, especially when it's church. So
Yeah.
that'll be a good Mormon. Check in with your CIA handlers, and yeah, Tori, anything you want to say?
No. Thanks so much for having me on, and I'll catch everybody when I catch them next.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so what would you like the topic for today to be?
Oh, how about healthy food? Cucumbers.